Hello everyone, and welcome to the showdown between the Warriors of Chaos led by Archaon the Sometimes Chosen and the Vampire Counts, who are going to be led by Helman Gorst, the Bringer of Doom. So when I was actually in the lobby before the game, my opponent actually said that Doom was coming. So I knew that could mean only one thing, that Helman Gorst was going to be bringing the end times to the Warriors of Chaos. As such, I knew there was only one man to take up the mantle and defend his people against the foul hellspawn Helman Gorst, and that is Archaon the Sometimes Chosen. So all jokes aside, I think that Archaon is a decent pick against the Vampire Counts. I don't think he's optimal. I think if you're in a very competitive setting, you probably want to be taking Kolek, because Kolek can really lay a whipping on Terrorgeist and allows you to bring Lore of Death and Fate of Buna. But Archaon isn't terrible. As far as his abilities, he does have the Burning Skull. I guess it's called the Burning Head. So this does magical and fire damage, so it's pretty good against Mortis Engine style of play. So if they're using a bunch of zombies and skeletons and supporting units with a Mortis Engine, that is really going to be doing most of the lifting. The Burning Head is very good at cleaving through those units. So we're going to be trying to get that this game. On top of that, we do have the Flaming Sword of Ruin, which is always pretty decent. 25 weapon damage, fire damage, and magic are all pertinent things against the Vampire Counts. We do also have the Crown of Domination to give leadership and immunity to psychology, and of course the Cascading Fire Cloak and the Slayer of Kings, which is, I mean, if you get those good attacks with the Slayer of Kings, man, it can be game-changing for sure. So we got Archaon in the front line. We got a couple halberds who are going to be stacked with some aspiring champions in case of Cairn Wraith play. I personally prefer to go with like Chosen, but I wanted to see how the aspiring champions would do. And in this match, essentially, I was just experimenting with a couple new things. On top of that, I do have Marauder Horsemasters. So they're not going to be as good against typical Terrorgeist builds, but I figured against Mortis Engines or things like that, and I was expecting like Helman Gorst or some sort of weird kind of alternative build here. So I wanted to try these guys out and see how they would do, and I feel like with Lore of Metal, they might be really good. If you got like Big Bird or something and you lower the armor and then nuke things down with them, I definitely feel like they have a lot of potential in this matchup. So halberds and aspiring champions here in the middle. I do have one Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, which I think is usually good to pair with like Kolek, so because they can really just beat down the Terrorgeist pretty effectively. But I brought one just as a bit of an insurance policy. One group of Chaos Knights with Lances, because I thought it would be pretty gangster to have Archaon riding with some Chaos Knights. You can see the flames coming from the hooves. They're ready to go. And that's pretty much it for my army, guys. So we got a little Archaon action going on. For my opponent, Christian, he's got the Dire Pack right here, which is going to be pretty threatening for some of my boys back here, especially these Marauder Horsemen. He also has some Dire Wolves, 2 Terrorgeists, which is very standard in this matchup. I think the competitive build against Vampire Counts is, or against the Warriors of Chaos, is going to be double Terrorgeist to take on Giants, Manfred von Karstein with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, and then a Mortis Engine just to win the infantry battle. That seems, from my experience, to be optimal. And he has a pretty similar build to that. So he does have skeletons. He's got some zombies here, some skeleton spears in the back line to defend against, large threats. 2 groups of Cryptors, which are definitely going to be pretty good if they can, avoid my Marauder Horsemen and sit on top of the chaff units. And Helman Gorst, I mean, as much of a meme as he is, the thing that really punishes Helman Gorst is going to be ranged units. And I don't really have too much to punish him with. I mean, because my opponent obviously is going to, I could tell right away that he's a good player with his reactions and everything. He is going to be screening me pretty effectively with these Direwolves. So I don't think there's going to be easy harass on Helman Gorst. And if he's left unimpeded, I mean, he's a Corpse Guard, he's a Mortis Engine, he can summon Graveguard, so he's definitely pretty threatening. So I really like my opponent's initial screening play. Cryptors, like I said, and double Terrorgeist. So without further ado, guys, let the second great meme war begin. So we had the first one with Gelt and I think it was a Lizardman Lord at the time. I think it was Krokgar actually, but this is the second great meme war. So I decided to advance up the hill right away because, not that it would be a big deal. I could have waited down in the valley here. And honestly, in retrospect, if this was like a tournament style game, you'd probably want to be like sitting down in the valley and just harassing with the Horsemasters. But, the call of Archaon waits for no man. So we're getting in there. So my halberds, I'm just going to be bracing on the high ground. He does have Cryptor, so I'm not going to be charging him. Rather, I'm going to be waiting here, and you can see the undead hordes coming in. So halberd style of play has been pretty good against Vampire Counts for some time, but if they have like a Gorse or a Mortis Engine type effect, you can't really afford to play that long game. They're just going to grind you down. So, that was Archaon. I was like, is there just a wild Chaos Knight coming in there? So Archaon jumps in, gets a nice little splash attack, and I believe I do get a Burning Skull here in a moment. In the back, it's getting a little bit crazy. I know my Marauder Horsemen over here were running from the Hounds. So my Shaggoth came over and was able to help out against these Direwolves and fend them off, and I'm going to be repositioning my Marauder Horsemen. And in the meantime, I do have a Burning Skull coming right down the formation, just a juicy cast. My opponent does have Invocation of Nehekup, which should stop a little bit of the damage, but you can see it's going to come in pretty heavy here and just burn through these zombies, and it does a little damage against Graveguard. That's actually still not bad. And Skeletons, so a very, very solid Burning Skull, I would say, but the frontline engagement, still not going great. Helman Gorst is just sitting there draining me, and I don't really have any ways of getting to him. If I had like Kolek and another Shaggoth, I feel like I could chase him with impunity, especially with the Deathcaster, but Archaon isn't the best at like pushing through. His mass is okay, but I'm going to be pulling back right now. So my opponent, very good tactic here, using the Terrorgeist to go after the Shaggoth when it's supported by Skeleton Spear. So if I commit to the engagement, I'm going to be taking poking and anti-large from the Skeletons, But I decided to turn and fight, and he gets his second Terrorgeist in here, but yeah, not too much damage on the Shaggoth quite yet, but Archaon's coming down. And Archaon does quite a bit of damage because he does do fire damage, I think, if I get the Flaming Sword of Ruin. And the Slayer of Kings, of course, makes him hit like an absolute truck. So we got a little bit of a duel going on right here. My Marauder Horsemen are just sitting nearby. I'm trying to get them in a position to get on these Cryptors. The mainline fight, though, is just kind of a, it's all Gorst up here. He's draining these Halberds. They're pretty low. The Aspiring Champions have 19 kills, 32 on these guys, 24 here. And it's just a wild cockfight, as they say. So this is definitely good for me. You can see this Terrorgeist is just getting whooped on. I popped the Slayer of Kings, putting my weapon strength up to 783. And this Terrorgeist is just getting taken to town by Archaon. But the problem with Archaon is that, I don't know, it's like, as tanky as he is, like if I find he just gets worn down in a lot of games, and it's his big issue. I'd really like to see, like, Creative Assembly maybe give Archaon something like some sort of a Chaos boon that could heal him somehow, like a Mark of Nurgle option that can, like, heal him. I don't know, something like that. If they gave him a little healing, I feel like he could be a pretty viable choice. Regardless, he does take out that Terrorgeist. He's able to kind of fend him off, take him down to half HP, so my Shaggoth took a beating, but I would say it was a decent trade. So the Chaos Knights, I'm getting up and around and going to be doing a rear charge on these Cryptors here. It is uphill, but Cryptors are lightly armored, and I really wanted to win this engagement. A very good breath attack from my opponent right here with the Terrorgeist and some good cycle charging, getting in there and just kind of working down my pretty much only true anti-large option. So my Marauder Horseman, another Burning Skull going right down the formation here, just roasting these guys, but honestly I don't have much left. The Halberds aren't obviously as good as Chosen with Halberds, so they're not going to hold quite as long, and Gorsuch has been draining them and cackling and giving the not Cryptord, but the Corpse Card effects to all of his infantry, making them very, very strong. So in the back, there was a very atrocious fight. His hounds were just relentless in chasing me, but I was able to get all my Marauder Horsemasters. And the thing about them is they're pretty good combatants in melee. So I was able to kill his hounds with my Horsemasters, who are now shooting with relative impunity, and I get the Cryptors. I killed a Terrorgeist. So Archaon plus the Shaggoth were able to kill a Terrorgeist, which was a really nice pick. And from here, we're able to secure our back line. So even though the bounce power is in my opponent's favor, it's still anyone's game. I would say, he does have Gorse, so if he's able to keep this inexorable blob and just kind of, push me around, I don't have too many great options other than maybe a really good Burning Skull for taking it down, and I definitely need to do some work on this Terrorgeist to bring it down. So right now I'm just going to be reorganizing my troops. My Halberds are going to be probably going back to the low ground. I'll do a little bit more harass with my Marauder Horsemen, and I think I have all three groups left. Yeah, they're pretty beat up, but 19 models here, 35 here, and then this one has 17, so still some decent pressure. You can see the spears are going to be coming in on the Cryptors here, and I definitely want to get rid of that AP and poison too, because if they're able to get on Archaon and poison him, then the Terrorgeist can get him. But man, Helman Gorse is just a terror in the night. What can man do against such reckless hate? We'll see who is the true Lord of the End Times after this game. So Helman Gorse running with his bell here, just down the hill. It looks like he's just chasing my Halberds off, when there's still 38 of them, so it's a really good choice here. But I'm getting some pretty good harass. You can see my spears coming in and just poking these Cryptors down, who are pretty low, relatively speaking. 11 models, a little bit less than 50% of their HP. So in the meantime, Archaon is just rallying his Chaos Forces. My Shaggoth has some decent HP, but a full health Terrorgeist, and he probably still has that breath attack too, which is very good against the Shaggoth. So just continuing to work on these Cryptors here, getting a little bit of HP damage. Of course, Helman Gorse, I think, does heal them with his Reliquary effect here. But just doing my best to harass before the final engagement. So Archaon, the Lord of the End Times, is going to be posturing right here. And we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit as there is some kiting and fighting. So just kiting out those Cryptors, kind of poking the boys down. And you can see Helman Gorst is going to be lining up his forces as well for the final duel. And my opponent does engage with the Terrorgeist. I try and push him off with the Chaos Knights and then maybe get a quick little beating here. But my opponent reacts very quick, so definitely well played there. So I'm trying to get around and get those spears on the Cryptors. I did actually kill a model there, and hopefully we can get one or two more. And Archaon should be able to kill them with relative, ease. But honestly, this is a big blob, and the Sternsmen still have 87 models. Helman Gorse is pretty much impeccable. I didn't really do a good job getting on him, nor did I really have the best tools for doing that. But right here, we're trying to get on these skeleton spears, and I'm just cycle charging and doing everything I can because they weren't braced, they were marching, so their charge bonus is, pretty much out of the picture. You can see they were pretty close to crumbling there, so just trying to do the best I can to wear these troops down before the final fight. And the Sometimes Chosen is ready to go. My opponent looking for an opportunity to land with the Terrorgeist here. And yeah, it's just a wild one. So I'm going to get around the back with the Marauder Horsemen, see if I can maybe get on Gorse a little bit. A very good breath attack on the Terrorgeist takes him down pretty low, and his leadership's at 30. And he'll probably, with the Cryptors, be able to get this guy down relatively easily. So the Halberds engage in the front line, and the Sternsmen will probably be able to beat them no problem, especially with Gorse just roaring over the battlefield, just a power stance on top of the bell, or the cart being pulled by his brothers. My opponent does commit to the engagement. So the Shaggoth, that's obviously the benefit of flying units, but I'm able to get a good countercharge here. I turn around and start attacking him, and do I have the Slayer of Kings? I don't think I do, but I did get a good Burning Skull down the main formation here. You can see the Marauder Horsemen in the back, getting some decent spears into some of his targets, and I think I was going for the Cryptors, and it looks like I am, but a good invocation of Nehek right there is going to be healing up his forces. My Shaggoth unfortunately breaks, but rightfully so. It has about 100 HP, but Archeon is actually doing a really good job. So I think if like maybe this build had been contoured a little bit, and the Marauder Horsemasters were a bit of an experiment, and I think a failed one. They didn't really do a whole lot for me this game. I think if it had been adjusted a little bit, I think Archeon can be made to be good, but I think Kolek hands down is going to be the most competitive pick because of his mass and his anti-large and his AP and everything against Terrorgeists, and he can really boon out Vampire Lords as well. But Archeon seems to actually be decent. Like, I was very pleased with his performance. 319 kills. I mean, he did a ton of damage against these guys. I mean, he beat the brakes off this Terrorgeist. And the other one as well, he was able to kill with Slayer of Kings. But at this point, I don't have too much left. I have these Horsemasters and some Halberds fighting in the pits here, but we'll go ahead and fast forward as there's some posturing. And of course, the Helman Gorst plays that long game, the grind game. I am able to rally some of my troops here. You can see this Terrorgeist is actually crumbling, so I was like, okay, maybe Archeon can pull some magic, but the Graveguard are just so healthy, and the Sternsmen here only lost 5 models in that last engagement. So just trying to get all my troops back. I do a little bit of a charge there to try and break some guys. Archeon's going to go in and fight these Cryptors, and he'll put up a good fight. You can see he fells a Cryptor, Lord of the End Times, you know, not wanting his namesake to be taken by Helman Gorst, but it's looking that way. The balance of power just so heavily in the favor of the Vampire counts here, and you know, I get one last charge with my Marauder Horsemasters, and that's going to be all she wrote for the Lord of the End Times. So very well played to my opponent. It was definitely a super fun game. You know, it's always refreshing when you're playing all these like super competitive games on ladder with like cutthroat builds to get in there just with like an unpicked Lord, and like they both worked, which was cool. Archeon did a really good job, and so did Gorst. Like they both were pretty darn solid there for sure. But I mean, if you wanted to make this build a better Archeon build, you cut the Chaos Knights, cut the Marauder Horsemasters, you get a second Shaggoth, because I needed that to stop these Terrorgeists, and that would have then allowed me to probably go after Gorst. And then just maybe just get a more elite or more infantry, like just a little bit more kind of weight there, because the Halberds really weren't able to up to snuff when it came to fighting the Gorst man. So very well played to my opponent, Christian. I think he said his usual name is Ritus Total War. And at the end of the game, you had mentioned that you wanted to play me again, and I'll actually send you, I'll put a link in the comment section below to the Discord. So we have a Discord we run, and we play Blood Bowl, we get Total War games, and all kinds of stuff going on there. So if any of you guys want to join, please feel free. But if you do decide to join the Discord, please just make sure that you read the rules and everything. We have, you know, obviously want everyone to be friendly and treat each other with respect and avoid, you know, shenanigans and just all that kind of stuff. So make sure to read the rules if you decide to join the Discord, and we can go from there. So again, very well played to my opponent, Christian. I look forward to running into you again on ladder, and thanks again for watching the Lord of the Meme Times battle here. All right, guys, take care.